You want to train, but something in your body says stop. You haven't even started. Nothing hurts. Nothing failed. But somehow, just thinking about the workout feels heavy. So you call it tiredness. You call it listening to your body. You call it not the right day. But that feeling is not a verdict. It is a forecast. Your body is estimating the cost of effort before effort begins. And if you obey that first signal every time, your body learns to quit before the work even begins. You know the moment. You have the time. The plan exists. Nothing is blocking you. And still, you do not move. You sit a little longer. You check something you did not need to check. You stand in the kitchen, waiting for the right state to arrive. You feel the resistance in the body itself. Not as pain, not as fatigue, as a kind of weight that settles in the chest and makes the next move feel like it requires more than it should. Then the reasons start forming. Eat first, wait an hour, train later, tomorrow will be cleaner. At first they sound small, then they start sounding intelligent. The longer you wait, the more your body begins to make stillness feel correct. Skipping stops feeling like avoidance. It starts feeling like self-awareness. You tell yourself the next session will be different. This is the part that makes the pattern hard to catch. Nothing dramatic happens, no crisis, no clear excuse. Just a quiet shift where starting begins to feel heavier than skipping. But the resistance did not arrive because the day was wrong. It arrived because the work became real. Here is the mechanism. The body runs a pre-effort forecast. It does not wait for training to begin. It reads the intention, predicts the demand, and sends the body a signal before the work is even started. That signal arrives as heaviness, as reluctance, as the strange certainty that now is not the right time. And the dangerous part is this: it feels identical to real fatigue. From the inside, the body saying, "This is too much. Something demanding is coming." You think you are reading your capacity. You are actually reading your body's prediction, and prediction is not neutral. Before hard work begins, the body almost always overprices the cost. This is why the first resistance is so convincing. It uses the language of truth. It sounds calm. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like your body is giving you wisdom. But at that moment, it is still only an estimate. Now here is where most people get trapped. The forecast does not get louder only when you are exhausted. It gets louder when the session matters. An easy session creates almost no argument. A comfortable walk, a light stretch, something that asks nothing of your identity. The body lets you pass. But the session that would actually change you is different. The heavy session. The first one after a bad week. The one that proves whether you are returning or just talking about returning. That kind of work carries weight before it even begins. So the body marks it as significant. And significance feels like resistance. This is the part people misread for years. They think, if I felt ready, this would be the right day. But the opposite is often true. Sometimes the strongest resistance appears before the session that matters most. Not always. Sometimes you need rest. Sometimes the body is giving accurate information. But most of the time, before the first movement, you do not yet have data. You have anticipation, and anticipation is loudest at the edge of change. So the answer is not to argue with the signal. Arguing keeps you outside the work. You do not negotiate with a forecast. You test it, not with intensity, with entry. The first minutes of training are not proof of readiness. They are the process that creates readiness. This is why the first goal is not performance. It is contact. Contact with the floor. Contact with your breath. Contact with one movement done honestly. You are not trying to win the session in the first minute. You are trying to enter it. Because once you enter, The body stops imagining the cost and starts measuring the truth. And the truth is often smaller than the fear that came before it. This is the part discipline gets wrong when it becomes too harsh. You cannot demand full power from a cold body and then call it weakness when it does not give it. A cold instrument does not refuse to play. It has not reached its temperature yet. The body is the same. The first set is not the real set. The first 3 minutes are not the real session. They are the crossing, resting state to working state. That gap always exists. Even elite athletes cross it. Even disciplined people feel it. There is no version of training where the body teleports over it. So stop asking whether you feel ready before you begin. That question gives the forecast too much authority. Begin small enough that the body can update. 1 set, 1 walk, 1 warm-up, 1 deliberate movement. Not to prove strength, to collect data. Because once movement begins, the body receives new information. Breath changes, temperature changes, blood moves. The mind stops debating an imaginary session and starts responding to a real one. This is why waiting for willingness is so unreliable. Willingness before movement is theory. Willingness after movement is feedback. The forecast changes. The cost becomes smaller. The system warms. And what felt like refusal becomes cooperation. Not because you forced the body, because you let it discover that the work was survivable. Movement first, willingness follows. Every session you abandoned before it started had a signal attached to it. That does not mean you were weak. It means you trusted the signal too early. The body will do it again. Before the next hard session. Before the next return, before the next moment that asks you to become someone more reliable than yesterday. It will send the heaviness, the hesitation, the quiet argument for later. And now you know what it is. Not a verdict, not a command, not proof that you cannot train. A forecast. A body standing at the edge of effort, trying to predict the cost before it pays it. So do not worship the first signal. Warm the system. Cross the first minutes. Let the body update. Because your body does not need to feel ready before you move. It needs movement to learn that it is ready. If this inspired you, give it a like. Subscribe for weekly wisdom, and share your thoughts below to grow the inner strength community.